bet on this experience economy before it became the experience economy.
It's like the analogy from Formula One. So the car that's in front of you is cutting through and creating the slipstream and using more power and energy.
Yeah.
And the guy who's behind you is using 25% less. And he can press the DRS and get ahead of you.
Yes. You know, there are a lot of other players in the market who seem to be wanting to bet on this opportunity.
Yeah, but I don't think just putting big bucks is going to cut it.
You know, there's a lot that requires work at this point in time, and plenty of it is.
It's almost like starting an airline but not having an airport, right?
Is it that bad?
It is.
Still.
When you tell me today, what are the venues and where is the infrastructure? When we do one Lollapalooza, we're creating a city overnight and then tearing it down.
How large this opportunity is in the near to medium term.
You and I have spoken about this 20 years ago. We spoke about this 10 years ago. We're still around, right? Doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is to say that we have reasons to exist.
What about M&A yourself? I mean, I brought up Paytm.
More companies suffer or die out of indigestion than starvation.
Not a bad thing. Let's address the issue that you've been dealing with in the last few months on account of what's happened with Coldplay.
I've got a clean conscience. My karma is good. I sleep well. People abused us, called us black marketeers, called BookMyShow, said cancel BookMyShow. It's this cancel economy, right? You have nothing to say.
What are the 2 or 3 things that have helped you find that resilience?
Having that balance which Vedanta teaches you, burning your ego every day when you come in.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shereen Bhan. The guest that I have with me on the show today has been around the block quite literally. He's been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, and is one of the people within the Indian startup ecosystem who has survived many boom and bust cycles. And he's lived to tell the tale for the last 25 years. He bet on India's experience economy before it became a thing, and today is looking at the future for BookMyShow, which is, of course, India's largest ticketing platform online. Ashish Hemrajani, what an absolute pleasure it is to have you back here on Young Turks. You know, your Instagram bio says, I hope to arrive at my death late, in love, and a little drunk. It's quite appropriate for the way that the business started 25 years ago, isn't it?
I live life every day with that motto. And that Instagram account actually is I don't know who activated it.
It's not actually you.
It's me. But what had happened is that I had disconnected my account, discontinued it, and then somebody posted a Gillette, meme or something, and I don't know who took control of my account. So I changed the password. I've forgotten it. So it still exists, but I don't do anything on it.
So that is that your mantra or not?
It is my mantra. It is my mantra. That is my account, but I don't see it. I don't post, and I haven't seen it in the last 7 or 8 years.
Oh, isn't that odd in the world that we live in today, and especially in the business that you're in, that you're off all social media?
Off social media, I have a LinkedIn account, which I haven't seen. I don't have a Facebook account, and I have over 450,000 emails. So I'm like your grandmother. If you send me an email, if you send me a WhatsApp to tell me, go check your email. That's what happened with one of my board members this morning.
Okay, so you know, what is that about? You're a tech company, and you're so far removed from tech yourself?
Not in that sense. Personally, yes, because I just think we are so consumed all the time on looking at our devices that we forget to see the situation or the human or observe things around. And that's always been my motto, that I hate it when we're sitting in a meeting and everybody's on their phones and someone's typing and checking their phones. I just want, if we're doing a meeting, let's keep it short, but let's keep it about the humans in front and ideate and creatively brainstorm and all of that. And we can always get back to our devices. So it's just one of those things that it's become second nature now. And I don't miss it. I don't see it. I've never felt the need to, want it.
And no FOMO about it either.
No, I don't. I get all my updates from other people on what's happening in the world.
Of what's happening in the world. But let's talk about what's happening in the world. And, it's been a 25-year journey for you. And in many ways, as I pointed out at the start of the program, you were ahead of the curve. You bet on this experience economy before it became the experience economy. As you look at where things are today, are we on the cusp of a breakout moment for the experience economy in India?
It seems like that. And I'm not so sure whether it's a good thing to be before your time or not. It's like the analogy from Formula One. So the car that's in front of you is cutting through and creating the slipstream and using more power and energy.
Yeah.
And the guy who's behind you is using 25% less. And he can press the DRS and get ahead of you.
Yes.
And so sometimes you want other players and other people to come and do the heavy lifting as well, to be able to create the market, to be able to spend money, to be able to get new users and consumers and get people used to this experience economy. So we've done all the heavy lifting for many years alone. And I think it's important to have this come together as an industry. So I think you're right that I think this is the starting of what we think is going to be the next 10 years of a change in how people consume and view entertainment. It's a change. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. But there's a lot.
Why are you being so circumspect? Because clearly, there are a lot of other players in the market who seem to be wanting to bet on this opportunity, the likes of Zomato, Swiggy, and others. I mean, they're putting big bucks into this business.
Yeah, but I don't think just putting big bucks is going to cut it. I think you've got to be really careful. And when I look at the entertainment chunk, it's about people going out to, with their spare time, what do they do?
Yeah.
To go out for a drink or a meal. You've got TV and OTT platforms at home. You want to spend time there. There's movies, going to a movie theater. How regional is playing a very important role in shaping up India's entertainment economy. Look at the films from the southern part of the country. Look at Marathi films. Look at what's happening with Punjabi music, right? There's a big change. And there's a lot of pride. And there's a lot of connection. So I think why I'm being circumspect is that there's a lot of other catching up to do. I think between single window clearances and licenses on venue, city infrastructure.
Yeah.
Look, when you build a venue or there is a venue in any other part of the world, which is 20 miles away, that's 20 minutes from home. 20 miles in India is 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And that's not sustainable. You can't do an event every weekend. We have 3 months of the year, which is really hot. And you can't do anything outdoors. A city like Bombay has about 4 months of monsoon. So that takes away 7 months. So you've got 5 months, right? It has to match the global calendar on when artists are touring, because otherwise it's not feasible. It's not economically viable for them or us.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm being circumspect is that consumers have woken up to this, because the Facebook of India is Facebook, the Instagram of India is Instagram, the YouTube of India is YouTube. Unlike China, where everything is closed.
Correct.
We have a large English-speaking population, and also there's this pride of our own culture and heritage in the music that you see. And when you have these social media platforms, kids are now listening and waking up to this, and you're getting data and analytics.
Yeah.
So the consumers have woken up. They're far ahead of the time. We're happy to match up to their needs and expectations. But I think there's a lot of catching up to do on policy.
Yeah.
On infrastructure, city infrastructure, just not entertainment infrastructure. So the reason I'm being circumspect is, while this is the start of something big, how big can it get? How will you approach it? How will we succeed and do it well?
Yeah.
Because you're one bad news cycle away from something going wrong at an event.
I'll get to the bad news cycle in just a bit, because you've gone through plenty of that, and more recently so. But I still want to delve a little deeper into this economy that's opening up. And as you pointed out, there's a lot that requires work at this point in time, and plenty of it is.
It's almost like starting an airline
progress.
but not having an airport, right? I mean, where will you land?
Is it that bad?
It is.
Still.
You tell me today, what are the venues and where is the infrastructure? And when I'm telling you, when you do a venue build-up, when you do stage infrastructure, you do lights, sound, you don't have enough. When we do one Lollapalooza, we're creating a city overnight and then tearing it down. And overnight means it takes us a 1 month build. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. You need public parks like Hyde Park. You need Central Park. You need public parks. You need arenas. You need venues. You need stadiums. I mean, I'm very thankful to the stadium in Ahmedabad, and it's Mr. Jay Shah and the BCCI and the Gujarat Cricket Association that really took a bet on this and said, look, for the first time in the history of India, we're using an active cricket stadium and the world's largest cricket stadium to put up a show there. Hasn't happened before. Why should it take 75 years? Is my question. Anywhere in the world, it happens every day.
So let me address this. How many permissions and approvals does it take for you to put on a show today in India?
I can't even count. It's just ridiculous because there's excise, there's police, there's traffic, there is fire, there is health and safety, and then there is venue permissions, and then there's a lot, right? It's all ambiguous. Like, for example, the public infrastructure in Bombay is just phenomenal now. Like, just the center ground at Mahalakshmi, because of the coastal road and the development that has happened in the city, the metro lines that are terminating there, the new connector, which is north-south connector, just allows you to do a weekday show. It allows you to get cars in there. It allows people to go home safely.
So the economics, have they gotten better?
It's getting better. Like, I'm being circumspect because it's evolving on a day-to-day. Like, after the 26th of January, you can put 40,000 people in that venue on a weekday because the connector will start after the 26th of Jan. Until the 26th of Jan, you can only put 15,000 people there. So it's evolving on a day-to-day.
So what is your forecast and what is your estimate of how large this opportunity is in the near to medium term? Because there's all kinds of numbers that are doing the rounds on the back of what we've seen happen in 2024, which in many ways has been a sort of breakout moment as far as the live gig economy is concerned. What's your own estimate? What are you forecasting?
Look, the good thing is that we're private and we've always stayed private. All these
you don't intend to change that?
For a while. All these estimates and this big talk and numbers have to be given by the public guys. And the reason they need to do that is because they're playing the stock game. Let's be real over here. We don't need to do that. We're real. This is not some up in the air, come up with a big number, create some plan, say something big, go to the analyst, and then don't deliver. We're delivering every day. And the point is that there's a lot that is dependent on others and not so much on us. And so you've got to work with the local administration, law enforcement, venues, venue infrastructure, infrastructure for sound, light. There is no quality lifts which go into the stage for a global artist to come. And if you want 10 lifts, they don't exist. You need 20, you need 2-ton pulleys with cable, which you need. And for a stage of our size, which is 230 tons of steel, you need about 40 of those pulleys. Doesn't exist in India. You don't have ground cover, which covers the ground so that the turf doesn't get spoiled. So, when you have a pitch, let me finish this. You should be interesting. The work that we've done for both these cricket pitches for the Coldplay concert is the pitch in the middle is haloed ground, right? The 6 pitches or 7 pitches. It's not one pitch because you have practice pitches and you have spare pitches. So in some stadiums, it's 7, some are 11. It's a large piece of real estate in the middle that you have to be very careful about. We've got work that we've done with risers. So you cut a space in the ground and you create base plates.
So leave the pitch intact.
And it has this base plate where you're growing grass on that base plate in the same flora and fauna in the vicinity of the stadium using the same grass, which is a spare piece of patch which goes on top. On top of that, when you create this riser, we have grow lights which mimic the sunlight for those 4 days. So it mimics so that the grass can grow, and it has pinholes where you keep watering the pitch so that it doesn't destroy the pitch. This R&D was done by us for the last year and a half, 2 years, to be able to use a cricket ground. And then you cover the ground and you have to replenish it and get it back in a working condition.
So this is your moat. This is, in a way, the moat that you're hoping will keep the new players in this space at bay.
No, I'm not hoping. I'm just saying that I've got to do a job to put on a show in a stadium, and this is the job at hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, but I'm trying to understand that, you've got now guys with deep pockets who are entering this space, who are doing big deals. I mean, I don't know whether you looked at Paytm and thought that there was any value in that, for instance, or not. But, what will be the big differentiator as far as BookMyShow is concerned as this space starts to get more competitive?
Look, I think we have a lot of consumer love. We've got a large base of consumers that come to us specifically for a reason, which is to get entertained. We're not confused about the fact that we're going to do 20 things. You and I have spoken about this 20 years ago. We spoke about this 10 years ago. We're still around, right? Doing the same thing, which is to say that we have reasons to exist, and we want to give our consumers something which we can offer. And we go deep into understanding things like ground, music preferences. What are the trends? We have 40 artists that come for Lola, and only the people talk about the headline. But then they discover bands like Cass, which we did in Lola 1, and now we're doing a 3-city tour with this year, which is in 2025 now.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it's about waking up every day, seeing, what are we excited about? What are the trends for our consumers? What are the new things that we can do? What are the trends in entertainment and the economy, which is the experience economy? We always looked at it as movies and plays and concerts. Now it's called the experience economy. And we wake up every day saying, how can we make it better? What is it that we can do better? What is it that we can do which is different? Can we make it safer? Can we make it, more pleasurable? How do we look at ingress and egress? How do we get people in safely? How do we get them safely out?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what bothers us or keeps us awake or excites us all in one go. When we do an event in Bangalore, what excited us is that at Bandland, we had 14,500 people, which exited our venue in under 6 minutes. Now, that is high for all of us at BookMyShow. And that's because we worked with Nama Bangalore, the metro authority. They put 70 volunteers. They put 6 extra rigs. The metro shuts down at 10 o'clock at that place. They kept it open till 11. And we got everybody out in 6 minutes. Now, that excites us. Right now, I don't know, you may say it's a moat. It's a differentiator. We're trying to do it differently. We're just doing it because the consumer is at the center of our world.
Well, speaking of the consumer being at the center of the world, and you also spoke about the fact that you've never chased valuations. But, at this point in time, are you looking at the possibility of going public? Is that something that you aspire to 25 years on?
There's always a possibility, right? There's always a possibility. Never say never.
Yeah.
But at this point...
it's a much more real possibility today than it ever has been for you.
That's because the markets are going bonkers. And now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Again, I don't know, right? Because you can get a great listing and then
So do you want to join the party or not?
I don't know if I call it a party. I have my own parties. I don't think if that's a party, because if you break trust, and the one thing that we've done with our investors, with our relationships, including this one, with our customers, is not break trust. And I think when you list high and then the stock doesn't perform over a period of time, or is on a hold, or sell over long cycles, you're breaking that trust. Because I feel in the public markets, the first people that will subscribe to BookMyShow stock, if we were ever to go public, will be our customers. And we're just going to break that trust, which we built over 25 years so carefully and curated. And we've curated that trust over a period of time. So I think when we are confident of consistent delivery and performance, where there is consistency in how we're sure on how this business can be business as usual. Right now, it's very clunky. There's 5 months of the year. There are cities that we can work in. There are cities we can't work in. Cities that sometimes things get cancelled. There are infrastructure issues. Artists need to believe that this is a market which is sustainable. It's not an exotic market. It is a real market with 220 million English-speaking people who are on social media platforms with a lot of money to spend, with the GDP that's growing at 8%. All of that. And then that single window clearance, and you have the government sort of supporting it and looking at it as an industry. I think at that time, you can think about saying, at that time, we'll take a call whether, how do you raise more money? Do you need to raise more money? Do you need to give an exit to certain investors? So I don't think
It's not a priority for you.
It's not a priority. Bankers come and approach us every day. I'll show you a whole list of these. They love these books. I don't know. I've got these books lying here. They're like weapons of mass destruction. But it's not something that we think about. It's something that we've considered many times.
Yeah.
But I think right now, our focus is on building this business, which we started pre-pandemic.
Yes.
And then we had to press the brakes. It was a hard time during the pandemic. And then again, we saw all the value that we had put in and all the time that we had put in and the effort pre-pandemic. It paid us back in good measure. Call it karma, call it relationships, call it, friendships that we built over the years. Across the border. In the US, in the UK, in India. And, there are some really good people who came back and paid us back in good measure because they knew that we were losing money.